over 55 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by the Georgia Farm Bureau in association with Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College.
All right, make yourself at home. Jennifer Parson at your service. That spot normally occupied by Ray DeLessio, and although he isn't physically here in the studio, he's going to check in shortly with a look ahead to that all-important Thanksgiving Day turkey update. For now, let's take a quick peek at what else is coming on today's program. Straight ahead, Georgia producers gather to navigate the ever-changing world of farm labor, why the guest worker program remains a lifeline and a challenge for many growers. Also on the show, he's not one for the spotlight, but his impact on Georgia's young livestock competitors can be felt in every ring every year. We'll introduce you to the man whose passion for agriculture runs as deep as his humility. And then later, it's tradition, adrenaline, and community all rolled into one. The ABAC Rodeo is back, and we've got your front row pass. These stories and so much more right now on the Farm Monitor. All right, time to talk turkey, literally. With cooler weather settling in across much of the country, consumers are diligently planning those holiday meals. As our Ray DeLessio found out, according to the USDA's latest turkey report, there's some interesting insight on the size of the U.S. flock this year, just in time for Thanksgiving.
When it comes to Thanksgiving, turkey still rules the table. According to the National Turkey Federation, Americans will eat an estimated 46 million birds this holiday. That's roughly 16 pounds of turkey per person over the course of the year. And while demand remains steady, production is telling a different story. American Farm Bureau Federation economist Barrett Nelson says this year's USDA report shows a continued decline in the nation's turkey flock, one that has been years in the making.
Now, this number came in estimated at 195 million turkeys raised in 2025. This is down about 3% from 200 million turkeys raised in 2024. Now, if we look a little bit further back, this is down 16% from about 10 years ago and 35% from the peak of the report, which had about 301 million turkeys being raised in 1996.
Additionally, Nelson said turkey farmers saw some good news on the avian influenza front. Despite a rise in the confirmed number of cases, turkeys for Thanksgiving are already in the pipeline, meaning consumers can rest easy.
It shouldn't have a major impact going forward on the prices as we get closer to Thanksgiving. I think you'll see a little bit more consistency. The prices are definitely higher than last year. We see that uptick right now in the wholesale price by about 40%. So we'll definitely see some price increases there, but I don't think they're going to go a whole lot higher above where they're at.
So whether it's roasted, smoked, or deep fried, there should be plenty of turkey to go around this Thanksgiving, giving families one more reason to be thankful when they sit down at the table. For the Farm Monitor, I'm Ray DeLessio.
Each year, Georgia producers rely on guest workers to harvest our fruits and vegetables, but constant changes to those programs have made things challenging. The Monitor's Don Holcomb reports on one event helping growers stay compliant.
Down in Tifton recently, producers gathered for the annual Agricultural Labor Relations Forum, an event that's designed to educate and inform growers on the ever-so-changing guest worker programs many producers in Georgia utilize on their operations and no doubt depend on to be successful.
I feel like we actually have gained some momentum. We've gained some real positive strides with our regulatory agencies. They're here. They come every year, and they're actually excited to be here. They're listening to us. Changes are happening because our growers, our packers, our shippers, our processors are present and they're having conversations. That's what this forum is all about.
Georgia farmers are, a top user of H-2A labor, typically between #1 and #2 state of using the program in the country. So it's obviously important to our industry, especially on the fresh produce side and especially crops and dairy and green industry and other things like that. So it's extremely important to us.
According to Bentley, the program has become a critical lifeline for many operations, one that allows producers to meet labor needs when local options simply aren't available.
Unfortunately, the domestic labor force has shrunk to the point where it's not really a reliable source of labor for picking crops or working in the fields has become harder, and finding that labor has been more of a challenge. So really having a dependable labor force through the H-2A program is really what makes Georgia agriculture successful in our ability to be diverse in the crops that we grow here in the state that we just simply couldn't do if we weren't able to have a dependable labor force.
Unfortunately, however, that dependency on guest worker programs has brought uncertainty, as regulations like the adverse effect wage rate continues to put added pressure on producers' bottom lines, especially when rates increase suddenly and exponentially.
10, 20, 30% increases on your labor rate, especially when those decisions aren't rolled out until kind of the late winter time, when farmers are already making planning decisions, already making hiring decisions, and then they get an increase in their adverse wage rate that they're required to pay. That's been the biggest challenge, is just offsetting that when farmers can't just simply raise their prices. So we're price takers. So the commodity is kind of set on the market of what that's going to go for a farmer, but then they get a huge increase on the labor side, not to mention the increases on inputs, whether it's equipment or fertilizer or chemicals. So it's just really been a challenge on the cost side for our farmers, and that's really been the biggest obstacle for them being successful.
Reporting in Tifton for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Still to come on the show, hold on tight because the excitement's coming to Tifton. From mutton busting to wild donkey rides, the spirit of the West will be alive and kicking at ABAC. But first, he's a humble leader who's helped shape countless young minds through livestock and agriculture. Kenny Bergamy takes us to the Georgia National Fairgrounds to meet the heart behind the hustle, Kelly Owen.
Whether being used as a decoration around the house for Halloween or in your favorite Thanksgiving Day recipe, nothing says fall time quite like pumpkins. It's why pumpkin patches like this one at Scottsdale Farms in Milton are so popular this time of year, as it gives visitors a chance to enjoy a little family fun in the sun while also checking out everything this fall fruit has to offer. And this agritourism destination all began when current owner Luca Gianturco expanded his family's nursery business that has been around for a quarter century.
He put his way through college selling Christmas trees, and he had a dream of building a garden center, and pretty much like Field of Dreams, build it and they will come. It's just great to see the kids having fun, the families taking pictures. They do their whole decorating for fall. We have corn stalks, bales of hay.
It's not just the thousands of visitors that walk through these gates every year that benefit from these fall festivities, but also the employees, as they are kept busy and working all 12 months out of the year.
The key is to keep things going for our employees year-round. So in order to provide that year-round employment, we had to come up with other ideas to keep them busy. So we roll into spring, then we do summer. We do a lot of plantings in the summer, and then we do the fall activities. We plant the corn maze. We plant pumpkins here as well. We grow them.
And clearly that is the main attraction, as any type of pumpkin can be found in these fields, with shoppers choosing between big or small, white or orange, and even smooth or bumpy. However, getting everything fully stocked for opening day is anything but easy.
It's a process. There's a lot of insects that hinder the process, but we've got a team that does a great job with the guidelines and the growing time frame in order to have them ready for the season. A huge variety. You've probably got 15 to 20 different ornamental pumpkins and then the traditional jack-o'-lantern.
If there are varieties that can't be grown here, it's not a problem, as they bring in all types of pumpkins from around the country. So no matter what your definition is of the perfect pumpkin, it's likely you can find it right here.
So it's sourced throughout the country. mostly the Carolinas and some from Michigan. The growing conditions are a little bit better there. It's a little cooler. You know, we look at what we've brought in the past years, and we probably bring in a good percentage of what's available. Ornamental, unique colors, that's the kind of stuff that we look for.
Reporting from Fulton County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Behind every great event, there's often someone quietly making it all happen. A person who doesn't crave the recognition, but finds joy in seeing others shine. At the Georgia National Fairgrounds, that person is Ag Youth Livestock Director Kelly Owen, a man who'd much rather talk about the kids than himself. As our Kenny Burgamy discovered, Kelly's passion for agriculture and the next generation runs deep. And it's that heart more than anything that leaves a lasting mark on everyone who crosses his path.
Kelly, you've got to have one of the most exciting jobs in agriculture, but little do people know about it.
Yes, sir.
Tell me how you got into working with livestock, the youth, and agriculture in general.
Well, this facility is actually, my younger days was a big part of my life. I got into FFA when I was 15 years old. My ag teacher that I started with, he brought us here all the time. He was a big part of my life also, and he would have us at this facility. This facility helped me grow as a person. It taught me how to win, taught me how to lose a whole lot. It just, everything about it. It teaches you how to get along with people. It teaches you how to handle adversity. You know, everything I feel like we do here molds young people for their future, and that's always meant a lot to me. I moved off and was able to come back and still show. Every year I'd come back to the open shows here when I moved off and, you know, graduated from high school and all, but the facility just, I always thought this is where I want to work one day if it happens. And when I moved back, it just all fell in place.
So tell me what you and your team do to get geared up for this, because this is an incredible amount of people that are here for almost 2 weeks, truthfully.
Right.
So what are you doing working months ahead to get ready for this event?
This event ends Sunday. We start Monday working for next year. You know, looking at everything we did wrong. I don't really try to look at the stuff we did right at first. I look at everything we did wrong. I try to, while it's fresh on our mind, we sit down, we make notes, and we try next week to change everything that needs to be changed for next year.
For somebody that asks you, what is the end game for these young people? Some of them will go on to college with scholarships, doing what they're doing by showing. Others won't, but maybe they'll find jobs in agriculture or they'll work back on family farms. But how do you answer that question? What's the end game?
You know, I'm sort of a simple person, so I'm going to leave it a real simple answer. The end game is we're just trying to make good, decent people. And I think that's 100% our whole philosophy. That's everything we want to do here. I mean, I think we need to try, and I think the whole world needs more than that, but I think that's what we're trying to do. At the end of the day, we need to make good, decent people, and I think that's what we're doing.
It builds a real community, doesn't it?
It does. You know, there's people here that will not see each other for months, and then they get back here and they're a family all over again. A very tight, knit community with everyone that shows here. You know, we do have tiffs like families do, but the most part, everybody works together, and there are a lot of close friends that come together out here and spend this time almost like a family reunion.
When it comes to livestock, what's your favorite? The animals that are shown and the kids that are out here that are showing. What is it for Kelly that you love about this time of year?
You know, this time of year, even with my own son, I'll use him as an example. You know, he had a good week, but at the end of the day, in the beds in the barn, he was up there. He has smiled more this week than he has in a long time. The friendships, the bonds, he loves his school. He loves his classmates. He loves his teachers. And to see him interact with them and be happy and do what I think he's starting to love, because I loved it and I want him to. And if he don't, it's okay. But to see him just really connecting and starting to have passion for the cattle business and for livestock and showing cattle, that's just great in my eyes.
Kelly, thanks so much for bringing us out today and showing us around.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny. We appreciate it.
Great talking to you.
Yes, sir.
When we come back, dirt will be flying and the crowd will be roaring. Why ABAC's annual showdown is more than just 8 seconds of fame. It's a full-blown celebration of Georgia's rodeo roots.
My earliest memories, I always wanted to farm. It was my dream. Our operation is a 5th generation operation, but it's a small operation. So when it was time for me to start farming, there really wasn't room. So I chose the path to go into the United States Army. And unfortunately, during that time, my father was in an accident. It was one of those hard situations where you lost your mentor, you lost a friend, you lost the person that you looked up to your whole life. But it also gave me the opportunity to do what I always dreamed of doing. My name is Jed Bauer. I am a corn and soybean farmer in Southwest Ohio. I live here with my wife and 2 children. We're carrying on the operation and hopefully in the next few years, maybe looking at transitioning to the 6th. I am the current president of the National Corn Growers Association. Looking at the corn industry and looking at farming in general, we're in a pretty tough time right now. And it's really hard looking at numbers for growers to try to figure out how to make ends meet. Our organization, the National Corn Growers, we are fighting that battle every day on the Hill, looking at ways to increase demand, grow our markets in multiple ways in any avenue possible, and bring that profitability level back to the farm. We need our legislators to understand the importance of what the E15 legislation can do for growers across the country. I mean, it immediately will increase demand for our corn products. But not only that, it will also lower gas prices for all the constituents out there. It helps small towns. All this grain and corn that we move through these ethanol plants all creates jobs, and those jobs continually move down the chain. It helps all of rural America, and it helps gas prices for everybody across the country. So in turn, by helping a corn farmer, they're helping everyone. We need to keep growing our export markets. But in turn, we also need to find new uses here at home and ways to make our corn piles smaller. Continually grind corn, come up with new exciting ways to use corn, and in turn, hopefully increase the profitability of corn here across the United States. And then there's so many other things. You know, we look at farm bill issues, we look at crop insurance. We are having these meetings with the people that matter. Whether it's the Secretary of Agriculture, the Chairman of the House Ag Committee, senators, representatives, meetings at the White House, meetings with input suppliers, just everybody in the value chain in corn. It is so important for us to carry this legacy on for the next generations and to keep American corn profitable. Looking at my past and how I got started, I think the passion has always been there in me. As I had my battles growing into the industry, I see our industry now with the battles, and I feel I want to be there. I have a 6th generation coming forward. I want to make sure that my son, if he chooses to farm, can have the opportunity to be one of the greatest corn farmers like any other corn farmer in our country.
Finally this week, the sound of hooves and a tradition that runs deep in Tifton. On November 14th and 15th, the spotlight shines on the ABAC PCA Pro Rodeo, a celebration of teamwork and rodeo heritage. With the ABAC Rodeo Club at the reins and a history steeped in Western pride, it's being called the school's marquee event of the year.
We're really excited to partner with 3R. This is going to be one of the biggest rodeos that we've had in quite a long time at ABAC. We've expanded our seating. We're offering new things. There's going to be family-friendly things like mutton busing. There's going to be a wild donkey ride. We're really excited to bring this rodeo together for the community and for people coming from all over. Our rodeo program dates back to the 60s, and we were actually one of the first schools in Georgia to have a rodeo program.
You get to meet the students at the front gate. We're all helping with parking. We also do a hospitality table for our competitors. Yeah, so you just get to see the school come together on that also, but just the excitement of it. It's a good long night.
I'm really lucky to queen for 3R and 4L. 3R has been really nice to let me do their rodeos. I did their rodeo with them in Quincy, the rodeo with them in Panama City, and I'm going to be doing the ABAC Rodeo and hopefully Niceville. I'm so excited. I've done plenty of rodeos since I've been queen, and I think the ABAC Rodeo will just be the most special to me because this is my home, and I love this school, and it's a great way to represent my title and ABAC.
Mutton busing is really sort of a kid's version of bull riding, except it's on a sheep. So kids under 50 pounds are able to ride a sheep, and we're really excited that they will also compete for a big belt buckle. So really exciting.
Yeah, definitely, again, introducing them to the rodeo industry, and that's a good start. And the smiles on their faces, I mean, mean a lot to us, and just helping them see what, you know, their potential is.
I just love horses. I like being on horses all day. I like competing, very competitive. So I just fell in love with the team roping and stuck to that.
Rodeo means a lot to all these kids. And they, you know, a lot of them have been around rodeo since they were little, and they just have enjoyed it. Horses are something that you fall in love with. And, you know, I was a bull rider, so this ground's sacred to me.
We're really proud of the concessions that we're going to be offering at our rodeo. Our own ABAC Dining is going to be having turkey legs. Our student organization is going to be out Alpha Gamma Road. They're going to be providing concession. There's going to be a hat making group. There's going to be all kinds of fun opportunities for everybody to get food and have some fun while they're on our campus. All the information, especially ticket information, is on our website, abac.edu/rodeo. There we also have information on our VIP tickets too.
Should be a fun time for everyone. Well, that's our show for this week. For all of us here at the program, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Farm Monitor. Have a great week.